with an expletive, even the chaplain gets them.
Farther north, however, there were still German units determined to make a last-ditch stand. General Hayes remembers that it was in this action that he lost his second in command.
It was then about 9 o'clock at night. After we got straightened out and started again toward the Po, Robbie Duff saw a mine lying in the middle of the road, and he ran over to the tank that was advancing on this mine and rapped on the door, trying to tell them to stop and not run over the mine. Unfortunately, they ran over the mine just as he got to it, and that wounded him.
Just a few miles away, the Germans were making a desperate attempt to get to the other side of the Po. Their retreat was costly. Private Franz Hubel was there.
Die Verwundeten mussten wir zurücklassen.
We had to leave the wounded behind, and only those who found some means or material could save their lives. We crossed the Po on trees, trunks, on telephone poles, car tires, and whatever else we had at our disposal. The physical and mental efficiency of the German soldiers at that time was at its lowest point, and everyone hoped that the war would soon be over.
Hatte die Hoffnung, dass der Krieg bald zu Ende gehen wird.
General Hildebrand remembers it this way.
Es fehlt an allem. Ammunition.
There was a shortage of everything, of ammunition, of gasoline, of reinforcements, of tanks, and above all, aircraft. Nevertheless, gentlemen, a demoralization of the troops did not occur. Our men at the front did their duty to the bitter end.
That night, the 10th arrived at the Po.
Well, the next morning, I went down and looked at the Po, across the Po with my field glasses, and I could see that the dike on the other side was all prepared for defense. They had foxholes were vetted in the, and as far as I could see, there were no infantry over there. And I thought, well, we'd better get across before the German infantry come and man those defenses. So I planned the crossing with the 87th Infantry making the initial crossing at high noon.
It was warm and sunny, I believe, although we didn't much care about the scenery or the type of day. We had to cross up over the dike, and things were rather uncomfortable because the Germans had some anti-aircraft batteries on the north side of the river, a few miles upstream, and they were shelling us all the way across with time bursts which exploded right over us as we were in the field next to the river and as we were crossing. Once we got across the river, we could spread out and escape from this murderous type of artillery. So we did.
At the same time, Bill Putnam remembers taking note of a sad realization.
It was the day we crossed the Po River. Ahead of me in the crossing had been Company L of the 87th. I spent the happiest, perhaps, days of my Army life in that company as a private, and I knew all the people in that company. When we crossed the Po, they'd stopped ahead of us, and my company crossed through theirs. And I only recognized two people.
Beyond the Po, the 10th Mountain Division got fresh supplies, captured the town of Verona, and a few hours later lost its assistant division commander, Colonel William O. Darby, to a German shell. He received the rank of Brigadier General after his death. The 10th rolled north to Lake Garda and took to the water to capture the tunnels on both sides of the lake. And it left friends behind as the fading war claimed its very last victims. It fought for the town of Torbaldy and silenced resistance on the northern shore. It battered the Germans out of their last mountain stronghold. It cleared the Adige line and then held the Germans at bay.
Mein lieber Sohn, es sieht so aus,
my dear
als
son,
ob es nicht mehr lange dauern würde,
it appears that it won't last much longer in these murderous hills. Don't be sorry when I say we have lost, for that is the bitter fact. We no longer have any hope of stopping this incredible turn of events. I write this to you certain that no censor would be so foolish as to disagree with these words at this late hour. We will surrender when we can. We have been left no other course. No ridge, no peak, no height seems safe enough. We have been followed into the very heavens.
We took the town of Riva. The war was over.
At the war's end, General George P. Hayes stood on the bank of Lake Garda, faced his troops, and said,
"When you soldiers go home, no one will believe you when you start telling of the spectacular things you have done. There have been more heroic deeds and experiences crammed into these days than I have heard of. I have been privileged to participate in many actions that were considered important and fierce battles. And I can assure you that one of the most bitter were the ones that we fought right here. Many times we stuck our neck out with exposed flanks. At one time we were 20 miles in advance with both our flanks exposed. The Lord held us by the hand.
And then bells pealed in 1,000 towns, and for a moment time stood still as the world readjusted. And then it was no more than a memory of gunfire and mountains, and of those who had died between Belvedere and Lago di Garda.
Their memory will ever be with us. Those who for a year or more, for a few months perhaps, were our friends, our comrades. And we feel that we have thy divine approval when we say that we are proud to be with them, members of the same unit, the same army, the same commonwealth. And as we stand this day in the final moments of remembrance, under the same sun and same sky under which our comrades worked and prayed and fought and played so well, we pray to thee, our sovereign God, that under the same sun and sky they may find repose, rest everlasting, and life eternal, a soldier's Valhalla, their reward. May they rest in peace.